Well, good afternoon. It's Friday in Hingham, and that means it's time for the weekly video. I'm sorry I didn't shave today. I've had a very, very busy week. As I think I mentioned in one of my posts, I had the honor of interviewing Vicki Kennedy this week, and she told me that it was only the second interview she'd ever granted. The other interview happened to be to Oprah. And she went on the Oprah show to promote Ted Kennedy's book. And that's the only other time that she's ever been interviewed in public. So I was quite honored. Later, hopefully in the next few weeks, I will have an edited version of that, and you will be amazed at really some of the things that she has to say. This is not a political discussion. As a matter of fact, there was no political discussion, just learning about who she is and what makes her tick. So let's see, that's this week. Now, we're half over in this course. Can you believe that? It's been a very busy 2 months. I don't know how you take online courses and then do your job 5 or 6 days a week. I'm semi-retired here and I'm having trouble keeping up, so I don't know how you do it. I have a great deal of respect for all of you using the online medium and being able to fit things in. I hope that this course has not been too much of a burden for you. Speaking of that, before I forget, next week's module is on ambition, and I've done two things. I've taken I've made some of the readings optional, and one of the Harvard Business Review readings, it's a little long, The Incomplete Leader. It's actually a great article, but if you have time, great, read it. If not, put it in your stack of things to be read in the future. Also, I have excerpts from my interviews with Mikko Niisinen, the artistic director of the Boston Ballet, and back with Sherwin Greenblatt. I'm going to make that all optional also, and I've removed the discussion on Mikko and Sherwin. Now I've replaced that discussion with a new discussion, and that discussion is about women and ambition. And I'm trying something new. When you get to the threads, you'll see that I've broken the group into two, one for men and one for women. I'm not hiding the threaded discussion, so men can look at the women's discussion and vice versa, but hopefully please stick to the comments in your respective gender. Now let me make one other point here. The authenticity notes that you provided me, some of you did such a great job. I've encouraged you to send it. Remember, this is intended to be not an email, but handwritten. Whether you send it by post or throw it on somebody's desk so that they can see it, let these people see how you actually admire them. And then please, if you do that, make a post under the authenticity tab that I set up back a couple of weeks ago as to what the reaction was. I'm hoping at least a handful of you do that. All right, this past week, pretty interesting week. I chose Oprah to illustrate how others can respond and react to people's passion. Now, she's a public figure, but you can see that there were different reactions, some very positive, some very negative. By the way, I happen to be an Oprah fan. I don't watch her show, but I respect her. My sister can't stand Oprah. I don't think she's ever seen her shows, but anything Oprah, in my sister's eyes, is not very good. But I did that for a reason. I wanted you to see that when people have passion, other people around them can react very positively and at the same time negatively. Sometimes they see their passion as sucking the oxygen out of a room. There's no space for anybody else. Um, if you go back to what were the common themes that you all talked about passion, you talked about teaching, helping others, in different words, being creative. These are very common things. By the way, no one is passionate about creating shareholder value uh, or meeting quarterly earnings targets. But that's what leaders, certainly of public companies, are consumed with. But boy, it doesn't get me out of bed, and I'm sure it wouldn't get you out of bed, and I don't think it gets them out of bed either. It's an obligation they have, not something that they hold as being passionate. Uh, Imagine if you could actually get paid and work in your passion. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And hopefully, some of you will find a way to find the intersection between those two things. Um, if you read the accompanying written comments, I'm going to share with you some of my revelations about personal passion and personal purpose. Now, on your weekly assignment this week, I asked you to go and talk to people about their purpose. Now, this is not something that you would normally do. You don't walk up to people and say, "Hey, can you tell me about your purpose? Have you found your purpose yet?" This is not usually a very publicly discussed item. It's often purpose very personal, and I was conscious of that, and I'm also conscious that most people probably don't have a clue what their purpose is, and the reason is they haven't given it much thought. We're all consumed with doing, whether it's doing our work or doing our family or doing whatever. And we don't have much time to contemplate such existential things as what is our purpose in this world. And for that reason, that's one of the reasons why I gave the assignment. I know that if you ask somebody about their purpose, they're probably going to ask you the same question. And so you probably had 3 to 5 opportunities to tell them whatever was on the top of your mind. So because we don't think about it much, it does often take a major life event to sort of shake us up. Now, that can be a very positive event, getting married, having children, or it could be a negative event, being injured, being diagnosed with some disease, being fired, being laid off. All those things cause us to step back, clear the clutter of our daily lives, and look at questions that are on the fringe of what we normally examine. Okay, now that's sort of it on this past week's assignment. Next week we're looking at ambition, and I told you that we're dropping some things, adding some things. But when I mention the word ambition, think of what comes to mind. And I know for some of you, what will come to mind is something negative. Ambitious people, the people that with very sharp elbows that elbow people out of things, the type A personalities. But think of what our society would be like if we didn't have individuals with ambition. So I hold ambition as a very positive thing. Now you can obviously go over the line and be so ambitious that you don't create any space for other people. So this is one of the things we're going to look at. One other topic for you. I never posted office hours, and no one has requested to meet with me, but I'm going to reverse it. I actually would like to meet with you. All I know about you is your name. If I'm lucky, I know your gender. 3 or 4 of you have posted pictures, so I know a little bit of what you look like. But outside of that, I don't know much about you except whatever you have said in the discussions or in the assignments. So I'd love the opportunity to actually talk to you on the telephone. And I can't probably do that with. I know I can't do it with 30 people. Maybe I can do it with 10 or 12 people. If you volunteer to do this, you don't get extra points. And if you don't volunteer, I don't think poorly of you. So, this is an offer that would help me, and that is to have a telephone conversation. Now, the best times for me over the next month are probably between 9 and 11 in the morning, Eastern Time, or 3 to 5 in the afternoon. Depending upon the day, I might be able to do something in between those hours. But, maybe those are the best times for me to talk. This conversation doesn't have to be long. It could be 15 minutes, it could be 20 minutes, or it could be as long as you would like it to be. So that's it for the Friday message. Listen, thank you for all of your honesty and the insights that you've had, and good luck in week 7. I will talk to you next Friday.